Hey, this is episode 95. It is number 6 in a series of 30 one-a-day videos. I'm traveling today with my 15-year-old daughter, Scarlett, which I'll talk about in a moment, and I'm editing this video in iMovie on an iPad Pro, so it's going to be kind of a rough edit. Every time the subject of family rears its head within my YouTube videos, I get torched in the analytics and people unsubscribe, but quite frankly, I don't give a fuck. I think that this is quite an interesting subject matter for this video, and it's one of the primary ways that I see the world. In yesterday's episode 94, I show a 20-minute study in oil on a toned canvas. We see it here. This study uses a very limited palette. It uses chromium green, red, yellow, and the figure is Payne's gray and white. I'm painting from life here. To the left, you can see the wood figurine that I'm drawing the imagery from. The point behind these studies is to work very rapidly and to keep a fluid practice, to work every day to make sure that I'm always in touch with the materials, always seeing and always producing very, very fluidly. Last night I was absolutely crazed. My 15-year-old daughter was moving to New York for a 21-day period to shoot a Universal Pictures movie in Brooklyn, and we were getting ready for the trip. Darlene and I rented Scarlett a flat, a brownstone in Brooklyn, and have arranged for a chaperone, and I wanted to be there with her for the initial couple of days. Our 5 a.m. flight was delayed, and we needed to be on West Broadway for her costume fitting. The costume fitting took about 3.5 hours for the number of scenes that she's in. So in the midst of all of this preparation, my 17-year-old son, who's a painter and a graphic designer, was really inspired by the small study that he saw in my studio and wanted to go to the studio to work on his own version of that. Here is one of the major points of this episode. As he's developed as an artist and a designer, we've begun to play a kind of analogical chess with both painting and graphic design as a kind of chessboard. So as stressful as it was, I put aside my preparations for Scarlett's travel, and Henry and I went to the studio. We set out the palette, and he realized that he had about 45 minutes. I spotted him some time. I did mine in about 20. I spotted him about 20 minutes, but so Henry had 45 minutes to produce a response to my painting. My painting was placed on the easel to the left, and an identically toned and sized painting blank canvas was placed to the right. In typical Earls fashion, Henry came loaded for bear with his portrait of Bart Simpson. He was headhunting. In this perilous game, Henry says, check. With that, I begin to think about my response, and I prepare for the trip with Scarlett. Scarlett is another collaborator in the family, but that of a different variety rather than a visual artist. She is an actress. Over the next 21 days, she'll be living with a chaperone in New York City. And she'll be on set, I believe. She's booked for 8 days on set with another 10 days as hold days.